What it do, folks? It's your boy Charles Younger here, joined with Josh Eagles of Covers.com, a reputable, amazing sports betting site. Josh, how are we doing today?
Doing good. It's Friday, ready to enjoy it. Baseball's around the corner. Get the two games in Japan, which are absolutely going to be electric with the starting pitching, and then opening day next Thursday. And I don't think any day in sports is better than opening day in baseball.
Let's quick side note. How do you feel about the opening day in Japan when it comes to like starting like almost a week, half week ahead of the regular season? Does that throw you off when it comes to like your style of work when it comes to sports coverage, sports betting?
The only issue is, and you saw it last year, that like a lot of those guys don't get a lot of spring training reps before they go over there. So it is an adjustment. I think it's a slight advantage for the Dodgers, but in terms of what it is, it's a 162 game season. It's kind of a blip on the map. It's not a big deal in terms of that, but from my point of view, it's a hard thing to price too. I mean, like you got great pitching in the Cubs and they're like plus 130 dogs. I think everybody just loves the Dodgers so much, but there's usually value on the other side in terms of if you're betting the games.
All right, let's get to back to what your role is at Covers and how the sports betting industry in general has blown up since the ban on online gambling has lifted. You've seen like all these so many sites who are into it. It's like talk about what your Covers does and how you guys stand out from the crowd when it comes to sports betting and sports lines.
Covers the site, one stop shop, just to pretty much find everything you need for betting. Like matchup, if you want to do your own handicapping, go do that. If you want to follow someone's picks, go do that. If you want, I mean, it doesn't even just have to do that. If you're a fantasy baseball guy, there's tons of stuff on that site. There's tons of guys to follow. There's lots of analysis. There's lots of data. Go there, check it out. Makes the betting easy. On my spot, it's just wake up, look at betting markets, find some stuff. I mean, especially in the baseball season when you got so many prop markets to look at, so many games. There's so many ways to find an edge. And in terms of that, doing that with baseball, football, but once and hockey, and once baseball gets going, I mean, it's such a long season, as you know. And then you get to August, you get to July, and it's still such a late season. So lots of sports betting coming up, and just sitting there telling people where to find value in bets day in and day out.
And which of the sports do you focus on most? And what do you think your strong suit, your weak suit, and what tools do you use to make yourself become a more well balanced analyst when it comes to sports betting?
Right now, it's I'm in the middle of the NHL season, so that's where I am right now. And now I'm gearing up for baseball season, but there's lots of edges in the early baseball season. So ramping up for that. Football's the hardest one to beat. So, but it draws the most eyes. So I'm on that. But baseball, I think, is probably my most profitable because I think it's the most beatable in terms of I bet a lot of props, especially a lot of pitching props. I think when you're betting on batter props, you're only getting 3 to 5 plate appearances a game. I think the variance in that, if you're a guy betting home runs, if you're a guy betting total bases, I think you're playing the variance game. And when you play the variance game in betting, it means you got to bet a lot more to decrease that variance. But in the pitching world, you can bet on total outs, you can bet on earned runs, walks, strikeouts. And I think that's something that has helped me become a profitable bettor. Using that, using projections, using things like EV analytics, the bat, finding out what the book hasn't priced into starts. If you get a guy, if Kevin Gosman's throwing 115 pitches in his last start, guess what? He's probably going to be held back a bit, or he's going to be maybe not as effective. Finding things with pitch count, beating the books to information markets. Managers saying, we're going with maybe a quick 4-man rotation because we've got a game off. This guy's only probably going to see 90 to 95 pitches, but the books are pricing him as a full leash pitcher. You can usually find some value. And if you bet early in the day, the markets will always adjust. So beat the markets early, and then the market usually reacts to the news and information that the bettors are actually giving them. So it's always a catch-up game for the books to adjust the lines.
And speaking of that, what got you into this industry? Like I know it's myself personally, I started playing fantasy baseball, fantasy sports in general, and then as like I said, the ban on online gambling has been lifted. I started to tweak over to your DraftKings, your FanDuels, etc., and getting a little interested in that as well. So, what got you interested in pursuing this as a career?
So it started in baseball first. So I lived in Taiwan for like 12 years. and was running the site and was accredited media for the Professional Baseball League there, the CPBL. So I spent like 3 years in the locker rooms reporting more on the journalistic side of things, and then just betting on the side for fun, not on that league, just in general for MLB and hockey. And then when we brought the family back over here, was writing for covers, doing game previews and analysis on the side, and then just slowly filled into a role. So a lot of people in my position, a lot of them have kind of a background in writing, in journalism, in writing clean copy. So that's where it is. And then you can't just be like a great better and come out there and start writing decent game previews and, like I said, clean copy, because you got to work with an editor and stuff. So I was lucky I had that all behind me, the writing side, and then it was easy just to blend into a hobby, which was the gambling.
Awesome, awesome. And as you can tell from my little logo here, I'm a huge Maryland fan. I'm a Maryland alumni. Do you follow college basketball at all when it comes to your business?
No, so I'm no college football, no college basketball. The three sports carry me throughout the whole year.
Hmm.
And I'm always amazed at college basketball because the turnover's so much. Like the information that you need to constantly have, game in, game out, getting prepped for the season, it's so much work. And I always tip my cap to everybody who stays in it. I know I'm from Canada and it's not as big, but the draw for college sports is absolutely insane. It's one of my least regrets on like Saturday football days. Like I don't get to be a part of that, but that just seems like one of the most exciting days. And it's March, and I don't get to be a part of March Madness. But like those are the things that draw me in as someone who doesn't follow NCAA football, NCAA basketball. Like these are the moments where I become like a casual fan for sure.
Okay, then I won't ask you any questions of how well my Terps would do in the tournament or how well the
Oh no.
football team do this year. But look, I say it's good, possibly a good year for both teams. But let's move on to baseball here. I sent you a list of the top teams with the odds to win the World Series this year, and according to Yahoo Sports. And what are your thoughts on some of those the top few teams when it comes to winning the World Series? Like, what are those odds looking like to you?
Dodgers at plus 230 is something that you don't need to run out and go bet right now. It's
Hmm.
not going to move. You're not going to find value on it later. They could lose 10 of their first 15 games. Won't happen. But if it was, that number's not going to move. That roster's too good. Up and down that lineup's too good. That rotation is just, they might not have like an under 180 inning pitcher, but that rotation is so deep and can take them through the entirety of the year. Otani's probably going to pitch sometime in May, maybe. But I mean, you got someone like Mookie Betts who's going to come over there and play shortstop all year. Like he's someone I'm looking at for MVP, because I think if Otani doesn't pitch as much as we think, then maybe someone like Mookie Betts can fill in that role. Expecting a big year for Mookie Betts, but I'm not betting the Dodgers at plus 230. That number's just too small. I think there's some value. I mean, like the Braves, they're projected for like 95 wins, somewhere around there. The Yankees, obviously, the Cole injury is a little scary. The Phillies and Mets are scary because there's only so many teams in the NL that can make the playoffs. And one of those teams, one of the six teams, let's say in San Diego, Arizona, and the Mets and the Phillies, isn't going to make the playoffs. So I think if you're looking for value, I mean, the Padres at 30-1 is something I like. I know a lot of people are talking about the situation that's dealing with the ownership and that they won't be able to buy. And who knows, they might be selling, but we don't know that for sure. And that kind of seems to be priced in. We saw what San Diego can do versus the Dodgers. And I think that's your only path through the NL. I think that rotation that starts off Cease and King, I don't know if anybody's beating that, honestly. And I like that lineup. I like that lineup a lot better than I like Arizona. I know a lot of people like Arizona to finish second in that division. I think San Diego can make a push. And in the AL, I mean, where are you going to go? Like, do you want Baltimore? Haven't seen anything. Do we want Houston? Boston's a sneaky one. Boston's the number 3 betting favorite to win everything in the AL. But at the end of the day, like can someone in the Central get that number 2 spot, which is so advantageous not to play an extra round? So are we going back to Cleveland? Maybe. I mean, they were so close. If it just wasn't for like, You had the most consistent pitcher in all of baseball last year, Emmanuel Clase, just absolutely implode. And they had multiple opportunities to advance Cleveland, and they just got beat. And I mean, we look at what Detroit did last year. That shows you of how important it is just to get to the dance and where you can go. But ultimately, you're just going to run into the gauntlet of the Dodgers at some point, and that's why they're being priced so low at plus 230.
I want to go back to you about the Detroit Tigers. They had an amazing run down the stretch. They're bringing back Blackjack Flaherty, pairing him with Tariq Skubal. It's a 1-2 punch there in the AL Central. Talk about what Jack will bring back to that team as a more depth to that pitching rotation.
But which Jack are you getting though? Right? Are you getting that injured Jack? If Jack's 100% healthy, 1-2, maybe the one of the better 1-2s in the AL. Like Tariq Skubal. Like he is unreal. We saw what he did in the playoffs. It's obviously really hard to replicate that over 33 starts, but if you can go 1-2 in that division, then that division's kind of so easy. Let's be honest. Like Minnesota isn't a giant threat. Like Byron Buxton's probably going to miss a handful of games, obviously, every year. Cleveland, Cleveland's strengths last year, like I said, were in that relief pitching because their starting pitching really didn't do too much. Let's be honest. But in baseball, the hardest thing to continue, the thing that has the highest variance, is relief pitching. Right? You're not going out there being like, "Wow, that's the greatest bullpen," because we've seen the flip flop in what bullpens can absolutely do. Right? Like, or just someone who was a nobody all of a sudden runs into that number 8 role, that 8th inning role, and just becomes dominant. So it's a wide open division. Let's be honest. And I think Detroit fan base, youth movement, and having those top two guys at the top of that rotation, if they can stay healthy and maybe get 60 starts between the two of them, that's a really good thing to have to get that. At least you're at least getting, if you win that division, you're at least getting that home field advantage in the first round.
You said something interesting, which is going to lead to my next question about a youth movement. There are a lot of young brothers in the MLB who are making a name for themselves coming up here. Starting off here, I live in the DC area, so we have a young kid named James Wood who has been nothing less than advertised since he's made his debut. Amazing kid, amazing talent, very humble. Grew up right outside DC. So, what do you think about his impact for the team as a actual player and as a fantasy player moving forward? And do you think he can actually live up to the hype of being one of the key pieces in that Juan Soto trade a couple years back?
I think if you're Washington, I think you're pretty excited, right? You have James Wood, who's projected to hit in the 3 hole. He's not rookie of the year eligible because of how much he played last year. But then you have Dylan Cruz in the number 2 hole. Like there's a lot to like at the top of this lineup. And then you have the other piece in that Soto trade in CJ Abrams too, who's at the top of the lineup, right? Like that 1, 2, 3 is just, it's exciting for a team who's fallen so far off after the World Championship and where they are now. There's a lot to be excited about. And when you're 6'7" and you're graded 70 power from the left side, and you're projected to hopefully continue just to hit bombs. Like, and like, this isn't just like projection of, oh, maybe he'll be okay this year, but like, he's going in the top 40 of all hitters in drafts. Like, he's legit. Like, his comps in the draft right now are like Kyle Schwarber and Brent Rooker and Wyatt Langford around outfielder 17. So the fantasy community is buying James Wood. And I mean, if you watch that swing, there's nothing more prettier than a left-handed power swing. And I mean, 6'7", you'd love to see it. And the Cruz Wood connection, if that stays together, and then Abrams at the top, that's really exciting for Washington fans who deserve it.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned Abrams. He had a great year last year, but had a little bit of struggle in the second half. Do you think he finally is going to click for him to get his head in the game when it comes to being you're the leadoff guy. You're going to be setting the table for this team. You have guys behind you. This is a youth movement here in DC. It's time for you to mature and step up as the man leading off for this team.
I think if you ask a 24-year-old to do that, it's tough. But I think in the spot where you have Dylan Cruz, who's 23, and James Wood, who's 22 behind him, then it's an easier ask to be a leader, to be mature, and to kind of change your role within the team. Because like he was hitting the 1, he was hitting 9, he was always the younger guy on that team. maybe this is the year it flips. And you know what really helps? Winning, right? Winning fixes everything. And that top of the order, like he's got to be excited to start the year with those two behind him. I mean, Dylan Cruz is, I think, the betting favorite for, or so no, he's the number two with Sasaki being the betting favorite for rookie of the year in the NL.
All right, let's move in the same division a little further south, and Michael Harris is second. Great, had a great broke out pretty well. Had a little bit of a down year with injuries, so but he's you can see towards the end of the year he kind of righted the ship a little bit. What do you see about this man moving forward when it comes to being probably one of the best defensive center fielders in the game? But when you think about his offensive game, how's it going to translate in betting, in fantasy, and so on?
He's someone I'm targeting right now for betting RBIs is an interesting market. It pays well, but a lot has to line up. And if he currently gets to hit out of the 5 spot right now, he's got Profart, Riley, Olson, Azuna, and him there in the 5. He will have absolutely loaded bases in front of him for a team that's expected to win, a team that's expected to win 95 plus games. There's a lot to like about him. Him and Lawrence Butler have been working out together this year. I don't know if you saw the clip the other day of Lawrence Butler giving him the gears, but it was pretty funny. But both of these guys, like 21, comes out, slugs over 800, 19 home runs, 20 stolen bases. Kind of a down year, kind of a down year. All of a sudden, like there's a lot of idea that Michael Harris could have a big, big year. He's on the list for NL MVP at 75 to 1, which is kind of down the list, but he's on the list. But he's top 25 in terms of best players in the National League in terms of hitting. Okay. Like I said, 93 wins. He's being taken as outfielder 15, which is pretty impressive, but also pretty impressive to Woods, who, like I said, is 17. So you're talking about a lot of talent right there. If he gets back to his rookie ways, which is like a 4.1 wins above replacement, you're talking about a top 20 positional player in baseball. So his variance is huge. We saw it. I think he was working away from some injuries last year, some oblique stuff that he's hopefully getting past and healthy. But like 114 games, he had 19 home runs, 20 stolen bases in that rookie year. Like the projections for him this year from the bat, 2020, hitting 276, and he could have an 800 OPS. And like I said, this guy who could knock in, they only project him for 71 RBIs, but I'm not sure they're projecting him in that 5 spot with everybody plating in front of him.
Also, and you mentioned Lawrence Butler. They, as you know, him and Harris grew up together. They're boys. They played the same general area in Atlanta, along with C.J. Abrams. What do you see from Butler? They just extended him in Oakland. They gave him a big deal, long-term deal. The kid had some potential. He was set up, went back down, came back up again. When he came back up recently, he blew up. So what do you think about Lawrence Butler moving forward when it comes to that team, wherever they're going to end up playing for the next 2 years, and the Athletics?
I think you have to be so good and have so much potential for that organization to hand out a 7-year contract, regardless of the price, right? Like it just shows you what his tools are. And like he could be like the face of like someone that the MLB wants to promote because he's cool as hell. He should be on a podcast. You want to hear everything, and he's going to produce at the plate, right? Like last year. I mean, this guy has 25, 20 potential. I don't think he's going to go out there and steal 30 bases, but down the list, like some sites are projecting him for somewhere around 29 home runs. That is insane for a leadoff guy. You're talking no, that's Kyle Schwarber territory. I mean, he's not your stereotypical leadoff guy, but like those are big numbers out of the leadoff spot. So if you can get 25 and 20 out of him, Brent Rooker hitting behind him, 100 runs, some stolen bases mixed in there, and some actual pop, like 800 OPS plus, you're talking about a very special player who has a very special set of skills and who just got paid. And you just hope that getting paid didn't change his work ethic to get there. He's 50 to 1 to win the MVP. So there's a lot to like. Like Michael Harris, 75 to 1. Where's that like Lawrence Butler? 50 to 1.
Christian Moore out in Los Angeles. He seems to be having a great spring and potentially maybe break the opening day roster. So we think about Christian Moore as being another one of those great young Angels prospects who's beginning to play immediately.
I absolutely love Christian Moore right now. The more you read about him, the more you like him, right? Guy, he isn't young. Did the NCAA route, Tennessee, so he's there. Went to single A, double A. I think he had like a 1.6 OPS in double A. In single A, goes puts up 911 OPS in double A, and he's 16-1 right now to win the American League Rookie of the Year. And what I don't think is priced into that is the issues with Rengifo is injured, right? Like they were thinking about maybe it'll be a come up later in the year, but like he could be earning his spot right out of the keep. And this is a guy with, I mean, spring, he's hitting 281. The pop's not there, but a 395 batting or OPS or sorry, on base percentage for a young guy like that hitting out of the two spot is a pretty good number. And if we can keep someone like Mike Trout healthy in a corner outfield spot, then Christian Moore is a legit offensive offensive, too much football. American League Rookie of the Year candidate here at 16-1.
And sticking with the Angels, we talked earlier. I have been a leader in the clubhouse, the Joe Dell fan club, for going on 5+ years now. This man, he has all the tools, power, speed. He needs to learn how to hit for average. So, do you think this is the year finally that Joe Adell breaks out and becomes the man out there in Los Angeles?
Well, I don't think he'll ever be the man as long as Mike Trout's still on the team, right? But like, it's interesting to see that they gave him some reps last year. The injuries, it was a team that could afford to give some more reps to him. They've given him a lot of chances. And his underlying numbers, if you just look at him, his 207 batting average last year was pretty bad. 30% strikeout rate, pretty bad. His walk rate was down. But when you give someone a full-time role and they know they're getting their 4 plate appearances a game, that really changes it from when you're that platoon guy. And he probably wants to get out of that platoon setting because right now he's hitting lefties very well. He needs to work on hitting the righties, and he's projected for that same thing. So 30% strikeout rate. But you're talking about a guy who, right, 25, flirt with 30 home runs, and is now getting a chance because they got to keep Mike Trout healthy, that all he has to do is beat out Mickey Moniak for that starting center field role. A little competition helps, but getting those everyday reps. You saw his August numbers, which were where they want him to be. That 850 OPS, maybe some misses, but when he makes that contact, he's getting fly balls, he's getting line drives, and he's putting balls over the fence. So if he can get 500 at bats and put up somewhere in that 800 OPS, maybe that's probably his goal. 25 to 30 home runs. That's possible.
All right, we have time for maybe one more here, I guess. We take it back to the Show Me State. Mason Wynn, as once he became the everyday shortstop, and for the Cardinals, good numbers. Jordan Walker seems to be start and stop with this guy. He comes up, plays well, struggles, sends back down. What do you see from these two guys when it comes to the Cardinals and their youth movement moving forward?
So it's come out that they're going to allow the youth movement a little more. They're going to give some reps to these guys, which is a cool thing because it goes back to that same thing. You're a young guy. Let's say you're Jordan Walker. You're worried about reps. You're worried about defense probably the most. And they talk about moving him to first base. Knowing that you get another day, knowing that your next at bat won't be taken away because of your previous at bat is big, right? And then like if you go up to the plate thinking like that, you're done. You know what I mean? You're seeing, like, not to throw Skeens here, but like if Skeens is adding pitches this year, like if you're seeing guys that have 6 offerings from like 82 to 101, like you can't have anything else to think about. Mason Wynn, and like if you're a true baseball fan, watching Mason Wynn play defense at shortstop is probably one of the most enjoying things in baseball. It's pretty crazy. Tovar, I think, is a betting favorite for Gold Glove for the position, but Mason Wynn's the number 4 betting favorite behind Tovar, Swanson, and Lindor. So he's going shortstop number 17 in drafts, which shows you where his bat is. But they gave him the keys to the position, and it takes a while maybe before the bat comes alive. But once you get that defense in there, then you get the confidence, and then you can start working on the plate approach. But someone like Walker, same thing. Like he has so much potential, and if they can get him out of right field where he's just not comfortable enough. He's a high strikeout guy, low walk guy. But if they're going to give him the reps, they're going to give him reps. I mean, there's projections for him this year somewhere around 18 home runs. If he can get there, like if he can get 550 at bats, if he can play the whole season, get his 20 home runs, 750 OPS, maybe push it a little more. Maybe that's not a bad spot for him in a lineup where, I mean, it's not the greatest lineup. It's going to go Mason Wynn, Lars Nootbaar, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, Donovan Herrera, and then like Jordan Walker's down there in 8. But like if he starts hitting there, he could easily hit in that 6 spot, which would be much more advantageous for his numbers.
I want to go back to the Braves and Drake Baldwin, catching prospect. Sean Murphy appears to be injured. He might get the opportunity to get receive a lot of the starts behind the plate. What do you see about Drake Baldwin when it comes to his potential as a fantasy catcher this year?
Well, first off, Sean Murphy just fell off a cliff last year in baseball too, right? So all you need is opportunity sometimes, and take advantage of that opportunity. And what you're seeing from him is very impressive. So Sean Murphy dealing with that. He's out till mid-March. So he's worked his way onto this team. He's number 10 for NL Rookie of the Year at 30-1. Now that gets a little tricky because we haven't seen a lot of rookies win rookie or catchers win Rookie of the Year. Buster Posey, last one, 2010. Giovanni Soto, 2008. Mike Piazza, 93. Like that's how far back we're going for the position because it's tough. But the coaching staff and the pitchers really like the way he's handling himself. Like not at the plate, but controlling the rotation as well, because that's not an easy thing to do for a young guy to come in there and absolutely gel with a very established pitching rotation. But one thing that's you're seeing already, his spring numbers for the 23-year-old, he's batting 375. Not a lot of pop, but he has 4 walks to no strikeouts. If you don't strike out as a catcher, like your job's pretty safe. If you're sitting there with some of the best plate discipline as a backstop, you're going to get your playing time. And not sure I want to bet him for Rookie of the Year just because he's a catcher, just because he'll lose plate appearances, right? He's not going to get 550. But I mean, he can certainly help. And all of a sudden, I mean, can Atlanta like miss on anybody? Like, can they just not have guys? Michael Harris, you know, Rookie of the Year. Like they just have a ton of talent coming up, and they're constantly competitive. So as a fan base, yeah, that's amazing. But as anybody else in the division who doesn't like the Braves, it's got to be frustrating.
Awesome. Josh, it's been very educational, very informative. You've helped me with my drafts coming up pretty soon. Some guys I want to target, especially from my MLB bro perspective. Any last words about this upcoming season?
But that's how it goes. Like a lot of not all these guys are on my radar either. And then you start digging into it. And I love that there's so many. The player pool in the MLB is so big, right? And like even the guys like Jordan Walker, even like the guys who are looking for bounce backs, like their ceiling. There's guys in the fantasy community say like the stock's so low, like, but the ceiling is so high for guys like Jordan Walker. Like James Wood could have a massive year. Washington's exciting. There's the list that you gave me was very enjoyable to go down and just see where they fit into their pieces this year, because collectively there's some great talent.
Awesome. This has been Josh Eagles here with covers.com. Check them out. Tell them how everybody can follow you and where they can find your information from.
Spend most of my time on X. That's where you'll find me, Ingles_Josh. Lots of stuff coming out, and we'll be doing a lot of baseball shows once baseball gets going. But that baseball betting grind, I know baseball playing is by far the hardest physical thing I think you can do for an entire season. I don't think anybody will ever break Ironman records anymore in baseball. Betting on it over that entirety of the year is also a grind. It's a long season. So there's your fitting words. Starts off cold, runs will be low. Gets hot, runs will be hot. Okay.
So,
the weather's impactful, but super excited. Can't wait for the games in Tokyo, and then Thursday, which is my favorite day in sports, opening day. So looking forward to it. But thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Me too, brother. Opening day is this is like actually a national holiday. I should make sure no one, unless you're working in baseball, should have to work on opening day.
As a dad, like that's you don't even have to ask your wife or anything. Like I'm taking my kid out of school today to go to the ball game. Like that's the one card you get as a dad for sure.
Awesome. Josh Eagles, thank you very much for joining us here for MLBBro.com. Feel free to check us out when you get a chance on MLB.com with all of our stories about American black and brown born American baseball players.